What if your odometer rolled past 500,000 miles tomorrow and nothing rattled, smoked, or leaked? Would you trust it or park it out of fear? 500,000 miles is not a pipe dream, it is the accumulation of dull, disciplined habits that beat heat, dirt, corrosion, and procrastination. The average car in the United States gets retired around 160,000 miles, so the extra 340,000 comes only from intention. Think of your car like a human body. Fluids are blood, rubber is connective tissue, electronics are nerves, and you are the immune system. Your job is to keep contaminants low, temperature stable, geometry true, and warnings addressed immediately. 10 habits do that work day after day. No gimmicks, no miracle additives, just measurable actions logged and repeated. Set reminders, use proper specifications, inspect methodically, and respond fast when something whispers instead of waiting for it to shout. Do that, and the odometer becomes a scoreboard, not a countdown to catastrophe. Here are the practices that turn old beater into bulletproof veteran and make 500,000 miles an achievable checkpoint instead of a fantasy. Secret 1. Oil discipline. Use the exact viscosity and specification the engine was designed around, then tailor intervals to usage instead of a sticker. Short cold trips load the crankcase with fuel and moisture, demanding shorter changes. Long steady interstate runs oxidize oil slower, so hours matter more than miles. Send a sample for used oil analysis each year to catch bearing metal, silicon dust, fuel dilution, and coolant intrusion before failure appears. Cut old filters open, read the pleats, and log what you find. Warm up gently so oil reaches full film strength before asking for power, and never mix random leftovers just because they are handy. Document brand, weight, mileage, and conditions every time. Replace crush washers, torque drain plugs properly, and clean fill areas so grit never drops inside. Use quality filters with anti-drainback valves that actually seal, because dry starts scrape bearings. Verify PCV function so blow-by stays controlled and seals do not balloon. Consistency here is the cheapest insurance policy you will ever buy. Secret 2. Total fluid management. Coolant loses corrosion inhibitors, brake fluid absorbs water, ATF shears, diff oil cooks, power steering fluid turns abrasive. None of them are lifetime fluids if 500K is the target. Add one more threat most people ignore. Coolant electrolysis. Stray electrical current uses your coolant as a conductor and literally eats aluminum, gaskets, and heater cores. Test it. Key on, engine off, put the black multimeter lead on battery negative, the red lead in the radiator neck or overflow. Anything above 0.2 volts means trouble. Find and fix bad grounds, replace degraded coolant, and never top off with tap water that raises conductivity. Flush systems completely using the service manual procedure, burp air correctly, and refill with the exact spec coolant, mixed with distilled water only. Label caps with date and mileage, log color, smell, and test results in a spreadsheet. Check brake fluid moisture with a cheap tester, sample ATF if shifts feel lazy, and change diff oil after towing seasons. Fresh fluids carry heat away, prevent corrosion, keep hydraulics crisp, and stop electrolysis before it starts. Dirty, conductive fluids quietly destroy parts. Clean, correct fluids add years. Choose clean, document everything, and repeat on schedule. Secret 3. Rust prevention never sleeps. Salt brine, humid coastal air, and packed mud creep into seams and sit wet for weeks. Rinse the undercarriage after storms, aim water into frame pockets, rocker pinch welds, spring perches, and wheel well lips. Clear drain holes in doors, sunroof channels, and hatch gutters so water escapes instead of soaking carpets. Touch up rock chips immediately so galvanizing stays sealed. Coat exposed brake and fuel lines with rust inhibitor and keep rubber plugs in subframe access holes. Pull carpet corners annually to check for hidden moisture from heater core seepage or clogged drains. Photograph suspicious spots, compare year to year, and stop flakes with converter or fresh metal. Hardware that unbolts cleanly keeps labor bills low and motivation high. Corrosion prevention is structural insurance. It guards crash integrity, keeps alignment true, and preserves every fastener you will touch on the journey to 500K. Apply cavity wax inside doors and rocker panels, use plastic rivet plugs after inspections, and wash winter mats so chloride does not migrate. Store the car dry, ventilated, and off grass, because ground moisture feeds the rot you cannot see. Rust never bargains, it advances daily unless you actively block it. Secret 4. Temperature respect equals component life. Most wear occurs before lubricants reach operating viscosity. Start, let the idle settle, then drive off gently, keeping RPM and throttle modest for the first few miles. Avoid full throttle merges, heavy towing, or steep climbs until coolant and oil are truly warm. In summer or after hard pulls, let the engine idle a minute before shutdown so turbos and heads cool evenly. Monitor coolant, oil, and transmission temps with an inexpensive OBD reader to learn normal ranges and catch drift. Heat cycles cook plastic, bake wiring, and shrink seals, so smoothing them out extends everything. Highway miles at steady load are easy miles, jackrabbit launches and panic stops are not. Smooth pedal inputs, early braking, and steady cruising reduce thermal spikes everywhere. Control heat and components reward you with endurance measured in hundreds of thousands of miles. Use block heaters or oil pan heaters in deep winter so startup viscosity is reasonable. Verify thermostat function, fan clutch engagement, and radiator fin cleanliness at seasonal changes. Check that underbody shields and ducting are intact because missing pieces upset airflow and raise temperatures where you never look. Secret 5. Early intervention beats emergency repair. Machines whisper before they scream. A sweet smell indicates coolant. A burnt odor hints at slipping friction material. A faint chirp marks a misaligned pulley. A slight vibration at 60 miles per hour points to tires or a bent wheel. Scan for codes monthly even when the dash is dark. Pending codes reveal issues early. Keep a notebook or app log of symptoms, mileage, weather, and what you changed. Patterns appear quickly when details are written. A $5 vacuum hose today prevents a catalytic converter tomorrow. 10 quiet minutes each month under the hood and under the car save tow bills and weekend killers. Attention is free, neglect compounds interest. Strike when problems are tiny and they never grow teeth. Feel wheel bearings while coasting quietly, listen for rhythmic thumps, smell for fuel after shutdown, and check for coolant residue around hose crimps. Use talcum powder or UV dye to trace mysterious leaks before they soak everything. Torque clamps, snug fasteners, and replace missing splash shields immediately. Document resolutions alongside symptoms because forgetting a fix repeats the cycle later and wastes money. Secret 6. Clean air on both sides of the firewall. Engines are giant air pumps and dust is silicon. Silicon is sandpaper. Replace the engine air filter before it collapses, confirm the housing seals, and clean the mass airflow sensor with the proper cleaner. Verify the PCV system flows freely so blow-by stays controlled. Inside, a clogged cabin filter overheats the blower, traps moisture, and feeds mildew that corrodes connectors. Vacuum carpets wipe dust from switches and dry spills instantly. A tidy bay makes leaks obvious. A clean interior keeps you alert and comfortable, which supports smooth driving. Use light-colored shop towels so contamination stands out. Photograph filters as you remove them, and learn what seasonal normal looks like. Air is cheap. Modules and engines are not, so keep everything breathing freely to earn miles you can count. Inspect intake snorkels for cracks, ensure resonators and clamps are tight, and keep rodents out with screens at snorkel mouths. Clean throttle bodies carefully to prevent idle issues, and verify that drain tubes for HVAC boxes drip outside, not onto floorboards. Moisture plus dust equals conductive sludge, the enemy of every connector behind the dash. Secret 7. Geometry and rubber decide how the rest ages. Worn control arm bushings, hammer subframes, sloppy tie rods chew tires, and dead shocks send impact loads through mounts, racks, and even electronics. Schedule an alignment yearly or after any big pothole strike. Rotate and balance tires every 5,000 to 8,000 miles, check pressures monthly, and measure tread depth across the width to catch toe or camber drift early. Inspect CV boots, ball joint boots, and sway bar links for cracks because once grease escapes, failure begins. Replace rubber proactively, it is cheaper than the metal it protects. A straight tracking car reduces fatigue, saves fuel, and keeps emergency maneuvers controlled. Tires are the only contact patches, treat them like life support, not decorations. Predictable wear patterns and quiet suspension components are longevity dividends you feel every day. Keep alignment printouts, compare numbers year to year, and challenge any shop that cannot provide them. Use torque wrenches on lug nuts to protect studs and rotors, and recheck after 100 miles. Grease serviceable joints at every oil change interval, and clean wheel speed sensor rings when brakes are apart so ABS reads accurately. Secret 8. Electrical hygiene holds chaos back. Modern cars are rolling networks and low voltage or corroded grounds make modules lie. Load test the battery annually and replace it before it strands you. Clean terminals, coat them with dielectric grease, and verify engine and chassis grounds are tight. Check alternator output under full electrical load, lights, blower, rear defroster, and heated seats on high. Fuse every accessory you add, route wires away from heat and sharp edges, and seal rodent entry points under the hood. A weak battery can mimic misfires, ABS faults, and transmission limp modes, wasting diagnostic time. 10 minutes with a multimeter each season beats hours chasing phantom codes. Stable voltage keeps sensors accurate sensors keep fuel trims tight, and tight trims protect catalytic converters from meltdown. Pull connectors gently, inspect for green crust, and treat them with contact cleaner before reassembly. Secure grounds after engine work, and never stack aftermarket ring terminals haphazardly. Verify charging voltage during cold starts and hot idles because marginal diodes show up only at extremes. Electrons are invisible, so discipline must be visible, labeled, and scheduled. Secret 9. Measure, do not guess. Plug in an OBD2 scanner monthly to read pending codes, fuel trims, misfire counts, and readiness monitors, even when the dash is quiet. Slightly positive long-term trims indicate vacuum leaks, negative trims warn of rich conditions, and misfire counters point straight to problem cylinders. Use an infrared thermometer on brakes and hubs after highway runs to spot a dragging caliper or bad bearing. Perform compression or leak-down tests every 100,000 miles to quantify engine health instead of arguing on forums. Keep results in a spreadsheet so you know what normal looks like for your car. Numbers remove fear, expose trends, and convert breakdowns into scheduled repairs. A $50 scanner and a notebook beat superstition every time, and that mindset is how fleets push machines well past 300,000 miles routinely. Calibrate tire gauges, torque wrenches, and thermometers yearly so data stays trustworthy. Graph fuel economy and oil consumption over time, and investigate any sudden shift. Measure pad thickness whenever wheels are off, and record rotor runout after machining. Facts beat feelings, and facts keep pistons, gears, and bearings alive far beyond the crowd. Secret 10. Quality parts, correct procedures, and patience close the loop. Cheap sensors report wrong, bargain rotors warp, and no-name rubber splits early. Choose OEM or proven aftermarket brands, torque fasteners to specification, and follow the service manual sequence on timing components, sealing surfaces, and torque to yield bolts. Label bins, store spares clean and dry, and photograph assemblies before disassembly so everything returns exactly as designed. Finish every job by logging brand, torque values, mileage, and observations. Share the plan with anyone else who drives the car so habits stay consistent. Longevity is repetition and documentation, not luck. Do the unglamorous work on schedule, stay curious, keep learning, and 500,000 miles becomes a checkpoint, not a finish line. When that number appears, change the oil, snap a photo, and continue the routine that got you there, because reliability is built, not bought. Resist shortcuts, avoid guessing torque by feel, and never reuse crushed gaskets or stretched bolts. Invest in a service manual, quality tools, and calibrated measuring gear, because precision today prevents repetition tomorrow. Patience saves money, preserves metal, and turns ownership into a predictable project instead of a gambling habit. Thanks for watching, folks, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like what you saw here.